Final hour OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, Darren Dreger coming up here in a few moments. Mark Zecchino from Pebble Beach later in the hour. Raptors coming off a win last night. We haven't mentioned that Anthony Edwards got fined $40,000 for his comments. We talked about it yesterday.
Those weren't the comments during the interview. Those were the ones before.
Yes. The hot mic on the court where you're basically saying the ref was cheating or...
Cheating-ass ref.
Cheating-ass ref. That's going to cost you $40. Yeah. And he called a shot. He said, I'll take the fine on this. So, Anthony Edwards gets fined $40K.
Yeah. In the big leagues, if you say the refs are cheating-ass refs, you're gonna get dinged.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Like, where does it get to a point where it's a suspension instead of a fine?
I don't know. Maybe
like that's not
because I didn't hear that comment.
Physical?
I heard that afterwards, and I was like, "Man, with the involvement of gambling, and you got a guy saying cheating ass refs. That's I'll guarantee you, Silver talked about it with somebody. It was maybe brought up for that comment. You can't make those comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's only a suspension if you get maybe physical or do something like egregious. You know, we've seen guys like spit and stuff like that, and maybe cross a line saying something.
But think how many people, Noodles, would be like amateur gamblers that might take that comment and be like, "He knows the refs are cheating. I'm not doing this." Like you just, you can't have it. You can't make those comments.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know the union's involved. It's collectively bargained what you can punish and suspend and all that, and it's apples to oranges, physical altercations or whatever, but that is an incredible comment. The ref is cheating, and they won the ball game, which is crazier. But I don't know, like $40K, okay. But if he got suspended, like if the NBA was like, you can never say something like that ever, like that's a really serious allegation. And it is an issue when you're into the gambling world. Like they're really concerned about that. You don't want to have people at home thinking that the game is not, on the up and up.
Yeah,
and,
no, you're right. Do you ever think it'll get to a point where the refs get interviewed afterwards? We see it all the time.
No.
Like we see people wanting it all the time. Like, I'd love to hear what his mindset was on that play. Like that, I don't think the leagues will allow it, but wouldn't it be interesting to hear what they, hey, this is what I saw. This is what you're never going to win because there would always be.
It would be great. It would be great, but the fear would be, like, what if they say something they're not supposed to say?
Exactly.
Like, what if they go on some tangent where they're like, I don't like that guy. I'll be honest with you. I really don't like that guy. And, I give him a penalty, or I called that foul. They protect the refs. Like, in the NHL, remember, they used to have the names on the back of the shirt. Yeah. And you go down to the Gardens, guys would just be yelling at the ref the whole night. Yeah. Koharski, like just yelling his name or whatever it is.
But those guys were big personalities. Like I know a lot of the refs, and I see them at the rink now. Like that, they're all in great shape. They all they're professional. They do a good job. Like it's hard because with that job, 50% is always mad at you. Like think about that. No matter what you do, 50% of a fan base that night is mad at you about something, which is crazy. It is. You have to have thick skin to do that job.
Look at Anthony Edwards. They won the game.
He's yelling at him.
He's accusing them of cheating. They won. Like again, I've never seen anything like it. The guys like, these guys are cheating. They're killing us. You won the game. Like Darko was different. They lost that game. He freaked out. Right. I understood that. Dreg's coming up here in a moment. I want to read this quickly. Shams Charania tweeting out. This is the most predictable tweet of all time. Ben Simmons is out for the Nets Suns tonight due to a left.
I thought he was coming.
He just got back. He just got back. Left knee contusion. He returned on Monday after a 2-month absence. Simmons developed swelling in the knee after a hit during the game, but tested that he showed no further issue. So the test came back clean. He's got a little boo-boo. He's got a bruise on his knee, and he's out.
I couldn't be around that.
I can't believe it, man.
I could not, as a teammate, I couldn't be around that because I knew just the way that people looked at you in the training room if you were that guy, and I wasn't that guy. But I just hated people saying, "Are you playing tonight?" When are you back? You playing?
Yeah.
I can't imagine being injured that often. Maybe none of his teammates or anyone in the organization asks him that, where he's just got so used to it and he doesn't care anymore. But I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about $700,000 minimum.
No, this guy
He's
got a max
making
deal.
$30 million a year.
Yeah, max contract, first overall pick.
Doesn't want to play. That's what it is. He doesn't want to.
That's what it is, sadly.
There's certain things where, you're not feeling it that night. Not tonight. Not doing it tonight. Like it's unfortunate, but there's certain guys that'll go through a wall to make sure they play. Other guys, they just don't. And listen, it's hard to challenge an injury because the guy could have.
I know two guys that will. Shaq and Charles will have a heyday with that one.
That's the thing. You're right, Noodles. That logic, and I think having that type of empathy for athletes applies to 99% of guys. I'm sorry, Ben Simmons has played the card so many times. You can't play it. You can't play, I'm not going to challenge it. He's got a bruised knee. Like, in the fact that the team was like, all right, go get x-rays, go get a, whatever you got to get imaging done immediately so we can come back to you and say, no further issues, nothing.
Like, Hayes, if you got some just business person and said, I want to show you this track record of injuries, someone that didn't even know sports would say it's not possible to be hurt that much.
Right.
Like, literally not possible.
Exactly. And it's and the other day came back, his stat line was great. 10 points, 11 boards, or 11 assists, 8 boards. It's almost a triple-double. Like, the guy's got immense talent. And he's out, left knee contusion after one game. And I'll bet you he won't play the next. It'll probably be a week or two, and then he'll ease back into it.
Painful.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, this week we're giving away tickets, Leafs Blues, February 13th, and we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro-Canada. The Maple Leaf Player of the Day for our Leaf lineup is Shane Corson.
Oh.
Shane Corson, there you go. Shane Corson, there's a guy that played for keeps.
He was tough.
Man, was he tough.
And he was a throwback.
He was a power forward, right? He'd score 30 and fight 15 times.
Yeah,
Old
he
school.
did it all.
Yep. Here's Darren Dreger, our TSN Hockey Insider. What's happening, Dregs?
Hey, guys, how are you?
We're doing well. We're basking in All-Star Week. We're excited. Are you excited? How you feeling?
Well, I spent all day in Guelph loading a U-Haul to get my son back home. Okay. So, I don't know if I'm basking in All-Star glow yet. Okay. And I'm heading to Thunder Bay first thing tomorrow morning for a couple of days to see my daughter. So there's a chance. Like, I'll watch the skills competition for sure on Friday. No promises after that.
Okay.
I'm just not sure yet.
All right. I saw you yesterday. What's going on in the OHL here? We're going from Mississauga to Brampton. That's like a 9-minute.
Which Brampton didn't work twice already.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
What is happening here?
You know what? I mean, it landed in my lap, and I confirmed it last night. And I'm always, I'm reluctant to just throw stuff out like that, even though I knew it was true, because there's always a backstory. And especially in junior hockey, I mean, these guys aren't trying to make a living in most cases. Some cases they are. They're trying to break even, right? So when you shift like that, chances are Brampton is sweetening the pot a little bit. And how that is, I don't know. I mean, is it rent? Is it concessions in the building? I honestly, I don't know what the details are, but I know that everyone was alerted yesterday that Mississauga was out and the Steelheads were moving to Brampton. So we'll see what the final tally is.
Yeah. Yeah, the OHL in Toronto, I mean, this is an evergreen topic. It comes up all the time. This discussion, too, is it a hockey town? Is it a Leaf town? There's same Mike's.
It's a major league town.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
You know what it is? It's a major league team town, and it's a minor hockey town. It's the greatest minor hockey place in the world. Like, there's incredible leagues, incredible teams, incredible talent. But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to find a footprint. If you're in the OHL, CHL, American Hockey League, that's just the reality.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, so we know Dave Branch is retiring as commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League, right? And I don't know where that process is at. I'm not going to throw out names, but I have heard some that were in contention. But, it could be, maybe even should be, one of the better gigs in hockey, right? The commissioner of a major junior league, be it the Western League, QMJHL, or the OHL. I'm not so sure it is anymore. In fact, I know it's not, right?
Okay.
Like, you better have a strong legal background. And not that that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it used to be all about hockey, and now it's really not. And, as evidenced by, the restructuring, the changing of organizations and whatnot in the Ontario Hockey League over the last handful of years, it's a business first, for sure.
Yeah, no question. With Darren Dreger, our TSN Hockey Insider, we had Jim Rutherford on last hour, Dregs, and we...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is there any O-Dog stories?
No, it was pure journalism. We were really hit. I think it was hard-hitting
good.
journalism, because we asked him, we said... I think, you mentioned that usually he's a guy that likes to get ahead of the game with deals, and we know he made the Zadorov deal earlier this year. And he may have been joking, but he's like, hey, we may not even wait till after the All-Star break to pull a deal off here. And I think he was being serious, that they're really kicking tires. And he did say he feels like, this team in Vancouver has done enough where
They deserve it.
They deserve it. They deserve
For sure they do.
to add to that group and to take a run. I think that makes a lot of sense, does it not?
Yeah. It does. Pierre LeBrun on Insider Trading recently reported that, they would be in the market for a top 6, top 9 forward. And, then it's been speculated across the board that, they've got their first-round draft pick in place. With all due respect to Zadorov, I think that they would have preferred Chris Tanev as the right shot. So whether or not they're in that game with the likes of Ottawa and Toronto and the several other clubs that are involved, I don't know. You know what? One thing about Jimmy, and by extension now Patrick Galvin, which I appreciate, and I've known Jimmy a long, long time. In this case with the Vancouver Canucks, they want to hold their cards close to the vest. Like, they're not afraid to be as honest as they can be about the direction. And as you've identified here, making sure that this team is as good as it can be going into the playoff March. But when you get into specific names, hey, are you in on this guy? Are you in on that guy? Forget it. You're not getting anything from those guys. And that's real, right? So do I expect Jimmy and Patrick Galvin to be busy right after the All-Star break? Yes, I do.
Is there a team that you're circled that you got an eye on that might trigger everything? I know I keep bringing up the Calgary Flames, for example, but is there a team maybe, with the Flames or somebody else that you're circling saying this, they might be in play either as sellers or buyers, and that might trigger an event of a bunch of trades or moves?
Yeah, you know what, Noodles? I'm going to say 4 teams right now, and it's hard to identify which one is more itchy. I'm looking at Ottawa, and I guess I'm connecting Ottawa to Calgary because of Chris Taneff's information that's come out in the last number of days. And I reported on it last night. I get that. I still, as much as it makes sense from Ottawa's standpoint, foundational fit, character, and all that, I don't know why Chris Taneff would want to wipe out this year. I just and chase for the Stanley Cup. However, Ottawa is really eager to add those type of pieces, 2 or 3 guys, character guys, high personality individuals. So there's 2 teams in Ottawa and in Calgary. I'm still looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets. There's a lot that seems to be simmering around the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, we spent a good portion of the early part of the year because of the, how struggling the Blue Jackets were, talking about guys like Peak and Boquist and whatnot. Well, now all of a sudden we're starting to look at more of the significant pieces. Like, there are a number of teams after Boone Jenner, which I think we can get. Ottawa would be in that mix. Go down the list. I can appreciate why Columbus does not want to trade Boone Jenner, and I don't think they're going to trade Boone Jenner unless somebody steps up with just an absurd offer. So, yeah, I think there are 3 or 4 teams that could get going here pretty soon after the All-Star break.
Yeah, it feels like this is a really pivotal moment for Calgary if they're going to move off Lindholm and Tanev and possibly Hanifin, maybe Markstrom. Like that those are the pillars of their team.
Don't they got to keep Hayes with some guys? Like, you can't, are you going to unload everyone and then just scorch the earth? Or
No, I don't think.
I mean, I don't know. Like, they're really in kind of a middle area, right? Like, they're not
Worst
an awful
place to
team.
be.
Yeah, but
Worst place to be.
they're right in the middle of the pack. They're not a cup contending team. They're not even.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they make the playoffs, but they're not awful. It's not a bottom out situation. So they got to make a call here. That they got a month to figure it out. Like, they got to figure out what they're going to do out there.
Yeah, and look, I mean, not dissimilar to what Bill Guerin is going through with the Minnesota Wild, and the situation that he's going to face with Marc-Andre Fleury. It's different contractually, but I've been curious about all the Jacob Markstrom speculation around the league, and I wonder if that's not more media driven than it is anything else. But if Calgary drops out of it, and we're going to know sooner than later here, I'm sure that there's a conversation that Conroy has with Markstrom or, the Newport agents to say, what does he want to do? Does he just want to stick it out and revisit in the off season? We're fine. Does he want to chase a cup? There's been some interest. Let's explore that. So that makes Calgary even more intriguing for me. My experience tells me I want to see it before I believe it. And then if you get to that level, then you're talking about Nazem Kadri in the offseason, who he's a tradable asset. And Nazem Kadri, as an example, he obviously signed in Calgary thinking that they were on the upswing. Here we go. And I'm not saying that he wants to bail on Calgary. His family's happy there too. But do you sign a long term and then all of a sudden management tells you, okay, hold on, we moved out 3-4 pieces, and we're not in a full rebuild, but we're at least in a renovation, which is going to take the next 2-3 years. I don't know. But it's something that I'm going to be asking about after the trade deadline. I can assure you of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then, the elephant in the room is Huberdeau. Is just
good luck.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're stuck with that contract. Like, he's got to play. He's got to play way better for. Like, is there anything he can do between now and the end of, let's say, next season, where you're like, all right, I can justify the deal, or I could possibly move him? Like, is it 100-point pace? Is it
nothing? No, because I just can't see that.
Yeah, but what if he gets to
answer? But I can't see that happening.
No, I hear you, but he has done it before. I mean, he was a good player at one point.
Yeah. I can tell you that going into the season, the hope was that he could get back to being a point-per-game player. That was the hope. So, 82 points, right? I mean, it's easy math. And that's probably not going to happen. So, 100 points might be pretty lofty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're like, there's always deals to be made, but I would argue that even to move him, it's to choose some of the salary. Like, if he can become point-a-game player, then you make him an $8 million player instead of a 10.5. Like, that's kind of what you have to do, is to be creative, because right now when guys have contracts, it's all about fitting a giant jigsaw puzzle. Do you fit into somebody else's cap structure?
The distance that he has to go to get to a $5 million player, it's a long trek.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
because he's not even that right now. He's not a $5 million player right now, and he's got to climb halfway up Everest to get to $5 million player.
No.
He's that far away.
He's got to play better. You're right. Like, listen, there's no defending the drop-off, but you hope that the climb back at least is somewhat easier for him.
That's all I hope. Every night I want to see him.
50-point drop. Yeah. There was a 50-point drop.
Every night I watch him, I'm like, I want to see this guy put on a show. Razzle dazzle, make plays, and I fall short of my expectations every night. Dregs, we were talking about the Leafs goaltenders. How do you think it plays out when everybody's kind of back and healthy after this break?
Yeah. You know what? It has to be one of the more intriguing stories, isn't it? As you look post All-Star break, because the hope is that Joseph Woll comes back later in February. But what is that going to look like? I mean, I guess they feel like they're afforded the opportunity to just make sure that he's healthy when he comes back. But then again, you get into the game cadence and all of that. It looked to me, and I think anybody who pays any attention could see that Martin Jones needed a break, and Ilya Samsonov's timing of coming back and playing quality hockey couldn't have been better. So best case scenario, I would say, is that So those two goalies in Jones and Samsonov continue to give the Leafs the starts that they did until Wall could come in the mix. And then you make tough decisions, and that's fine. What's wrong with a little competitive juice? You know, Toronto didn't want the 3-goalie situation. They just happen to have the luxury of having it, right? So if it turns into a 3-goalie situation when Wall comes back, then, you know, best man gets the crease, and then you make that decision as you get closer to the trade deadline, or, you know, you push closer to wherever you're at in trying to lock down that playoff spot.
So is that the expectation, Dregs? Like we're still a few weeks away from Wall? Like
Yeah,
even,
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
That'll be
How
all
long
of
has
2
that
months,
been?
man. Yeah, that'll
How long
be
has that been?
2 months or more.
Well,
think.
I mean, Sheldon said, was it last week or early in the week, that he was a ways away, right? Normally, and Noodles, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't perfect scenario be when he's back, close to being back, you get him on the ice for, 10 days, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
And then activate him? Yeah.
I would say, depending if you're practicing with the group, like they might have to send him to the AHL for
maybe
a weekend to get him some games type of thing, game action, like, based on his age, all of that type of stuff. So there might be, just like they had with Samsonov, a plan. I would argue they probably have a timeline and a plan for Joseph Woll to come back. And again, to get on a moving train be very tough. They might have to put him in the AHL to get him a weekend of games and pucks and cadence, all of that we were just talking about, and then call him back up and get him rolling.
Yeah, that's fine. And then, best man for the job after that. No, I mean, you're not going to keep all 3 goalies up in the NHL, but you can obviously reassign Marty Jones. So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, he last played December 7th against Ottawa. So
February 7th will be 2 months, right? Like that's man.
I mean, we were bracing for that. They knew it was 6 to 8 weeks anyway, but that'll be all of 8 weeks.
Here, I know we got to go, but here's one other ring. Does Marty Jones need waivers? Because he's been up for, is it 10 games or 28 days? I think there's a waiver situation involved there too. Right?
I think he would for sure.
That's, and believe me, I think there'd be other teams kind of sniffing, going, I could maybe bring him as some insurance into my organization.
He's not getting through again. I cannot imagine he would. I think it'd be a shock. All right, Dregs, safe travels, buddy. We'll do it again soon.
Okay, boys. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend.
You too. Darren Dreger, a TSN Hockey Insider. Don't forget, with the Super Bowl matchup now confirmed, now is your chance to back your favorite OverDrive duo. Hazenbrough or Owen Wilson? Tell us whose Super Bowl pick you're backing. Follow us on Twitter at OverDrive1050 and tweet us with either hashtag Hazenbrough or hashtag Owen Wilson, or you can text us the keyword Hayes or O-Dog and your name to 105050. You'll have until Super Bowl Sunday at 1 p.m. to make your pick. And on Super Bowl Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, one lucky listener who tails the championship duo will win a $250 NFL Shop gift card and a pair of tickets to the Bills home opener in 2024. Go probably catch Jack Armstrong down there, right?
Wow.
Al's brother, he's a regular down there. He's either cruising or he's at the Bills game. He's on a cruise right now, cruising.
Have you seen pics or what is he doing?
No, I haven't seen him really. He maybe he's been posting stuff, but I haven't seen it. Usually he's pretty obnoxious with posting.
Really?
Yeah, he's pretty loud. It really kind of gets a little bit out of control, but I have not seen anything yet. All right, we've got Zecchino coming up from Pebble Beach. His take on the news of the day down there, who he likes going into a big event. No Bill Murray. Right, Bill Murray's
Joe from the
done.
Bridge. So I don't know if you can do this, Joe from the Bridge, but after Zecchino, let's see if we can get some of Bill Murray's antics over the years, like the goofy stuff with the fans and the making the putts and the
awesome.
Gear is insane. He wears these flannel dress shirts buttoned up with suspenders and garden glove. It's insane what he was doing out there.
He's got to be so happy it's over. It's Bill Murray. The guy's one of the great comedic actors ever. He was probably 5 years ago saying, "Can you let me stop? I don't want to do this anymore."
But he's not a bad golfer either. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's not bad.
I saw him in Scotland at a Pro-Am in the fall. He was playing in Scotland. at the whatever links champion, Dunhill Links. Bill Murray's out there in 20-mile-an-hour wind in suspenders, hitting just worm burners.
And he's a good golfer, right? Like outside of like
he's okay. I mean, he's
anyway,
probably like a 12
Joe from the Bridge.
or
If you
something.
can put us together a little montage of the corniness and the goofiness of the antics.
You know who else I guess didn't get the invite? And Kristen, a friend of mine, someone who works here, just pointed this out too, is Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince. Remember, he'd go out and do the Carlton Banks dance, and it was
every putt, he'd be like this, and it was so stupid.
By the
This
third
heinous
hole,
guts
you're
by
like,
the
you
end.
got to stop,
Dude,
man.
it's been going on for 20
Yeah.
years. Him and Justin Timberlake would do that dance after every
I
putt that
know.
was sank, and I just was like, Uncle,
What?
stop it.
You talk about getting every last drop, man. That guy, like the Fresh Prince, ended 25 years ago. More than
For
that.
sure.
And he
Yeah.
wasn't the main character. He was a supporting cast on a sitcom 30 years ago, and he's at
And
the
he
Pro-Am.
is milking that dance.
I'll tell you.
How many times have you think he's had a bunch of drinks at a bar and he just starts ripping that one out?
Well, or he
I
snaps
think it's
on
the
people,
other way.
right? Yeah.
It's the other way. I think I've told you guys this. My buddy is friends with Urkel.
Yes.
And like, remember that Urkel guy?
Yes, of course.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
So we were on a pub crawl, dressed up, and I was calling him Urkel, and my buddy was like, "Hey, he just doesn't like that," and I was buckled, and I must have called him Urkel 50 times that night, and the guy is bigger, like he could have stuffed me in a garbage
got
can.
jacked, man.
I was like. I couldn't help myself. I was sitting beside Urkel on a double-decker party bus in L.A., and there was Urkel sitting beside, and I was calling him Urkel right to his face.
It's the worst. Like if you get
He hate-
typecast, like, and if you're Urkel, like that was the thing. You're right. He tried to transition into heartthrob afterwards, like in shape, good-looking guy.
I loved Urkel, man.
Urkel
he's
was
the
all
man.
right. It was
He's
okay.
the man.
My God.
but he couldn't get over
Urkel,
it.
Alf, they were all studs back.
Alf
in the
was a stud, man. Alf was a stud.
Alf from Melmac.
Yes, I love Alf.
The doll.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the alien.
Yeah. That was
He was a
Third
little
Rock
alien.
from the Sun and Alf. Like,
Yeah.
those are the shows we watched. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
All right, we got Zecchino coming up. So more on that. We'll get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, the first caller through right now, 416-870-1050, 416-870-1050 with the correct keyword announced this morning on First Up wins a $100 Golf Town gift card and qualifies for the grand prize draw. All the full contest details are available at tsn1050.ca. We're talking getting down to the waste management, right? Golf Town,
Yes.
full, bags, clubs, $1,000 gift card. It's unreal. So tsn1050.ca for all the details. And whoever has the keyword from this morning, call us now, 416-870-1050. Pebble Beach, beautiful course, one of the all-time greats. And it's got a great field this week, right? They have not had great fields in the past. That's why they've relied on amateurs like Bill Murray and Carlton Banks. But now it's about the best of the best. And there's a lot of news going on out there as well. I mean, there was big news in terms of the PGA Tour and money being infused into the tour.
What are these cats up to, Hayes? Like they're infusing $3 billion or whatever they're doing. How?
Well, it's a conglomerate of sports owners.
I do get that, but what is the money going towards? Purses?
Yes.
The players are being...
My understanding is, and this is why we have Zecchino, but I think the purses are basically solidified for the next 5 years, and a lot of the players are getting money, are getting money from this, and this group is getting stake in the PGA Tour, like they're getting an ownership stake effectively. Let's go to the man himself. He's on the scene out there at Pebble Beach. TSN golf analyst, host of Golf Talk Canada. Here's Mark Zecchino. Mark, can you clarify the details, like what was announced today that is going to have an impact on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, well, that was a great summary, right? And by the way, great to talk to you guys. Way too long, so glad the golf season's back. $3 billion, a lot of dough, but at the end of the day, how much can you charge for right fees to your product? I think for the time being, we're at the ceiling for that. You take a look at the Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo walking away from their sponsorship. You saw Honda, who was the longest active sponsor on the PGA Tour, walk away from the Honda Classic. Corporate America was not really willing to pick up the price tag for this, the price tag of what it was going to cost to elevate the purses, the money, ownership involved to go toe-to-toe with basically the Saudi government, no matter which way you want to cut this. So the $3 billion kind of solidifies that, backs that up, puts them in a position now where, they can afford these purses, afford the players what they've promised, give them an equity position, and strengthen their position now, one would assume, in their continuing negotiations with the Saudis. Because, there obviously some chatter today online, people thinking, does this end those negotiations? Does this, change the balance of power in those negotiations? I mean, I don't know. Anybody who tells you that they know what's going on is lying to you. There's 5 people in the room that might have a clue what's going on. We all found that out Canadian Open week. It's an ever-evolving story. The new deadline is the Masters. Publicly they came out end of December and said our goal is to have an announcement and a deal in place by the time we get to Augusta. I think we all anticipate that. I think the PGA Tour wanted to be bargaining from a strength of position and wanted somebody else at the table with a lot of skin in the game other than just the Public Investment Fund.
Zeke, we were talking earlier, and I think what fans want, and I think the players are starting to, like just hearing Rory's comments, the ideal goal here is to have 15 to 20 events, including the majors, where whether you play on LIV or the PGA Tour, if you're one of the best players in the world, you're all teeing at the same course. Do you see that as a possibility in the near future? I think that's what golf fans are wanting to know. Like, is everyone going to kiss and make up, and you're going to see Koepka in a group with Tiger and Max Homa, and Rory's with Dustin Johnson and whoever else, and they're all going to play and be happy?
I think we're going to get there. I just don't think it's going to be as close as what people like. I think there's going to have to be some unraveling and some back at the table working of the schedule again for this to become a realization. So, I'm thinking or hopeful that, 2026 might look at like that. Don't forget that Rory and Tiger are still in the works on their new indoor TGL golf league in partnership with the PGA Tour that's been delayed a year due to the construction issues and a few other issues down where they were going to play that league on Monday nights down in the Palm Beach area in Florida. So, there's got to be a lot of concessions, a lot of people with cooler, calmer minds around the table making these decisions. To your point, though, I think for the first time in a long time, everybody kind of finally wants the same thing. So I think we'll get there. At the end of the day, I'm wondering how LIV Golf and the PGA Tour, how do they get to this land we're talking about? Because, unless Jay Monahan does a complete 180, the one thing we got out of the press conference at the Canadian Open last year when the announcement was made that they were going to work together and try to create a partnership in some capacity, the one question Monahan was asked that he actually answered was, do you see a day in this partnership where, the LIV Golf Series and the PGA Tour are both playing opposite each other on the same weekend against each other? And the answer to that question was no. So that means for these two things to coexist, they've got to play at different times of the year, or they have to pause their schedule. And then someone like me automatically goes to, does that mean LIV Golf operates after the FedEx Cup? Is LIV Golf something that continues September, October, November, December? Does it exist at all? Here we are again, several years into this civil war in golf, and all we know is there's more money flowing. No one's really winning right now except the players, and we'll probably have more questions than we have answers and are likely at least 6 to 7 months away from really getting true answers to these questions.
With Mark Zecchino down at Pebble Beach, and, this is a big weekend now for the PGA Tour with all this news going out. This is an elevated event. It's, one of the most famous tournaments and famous golf courses in the world. And you got all the big boys playing. McIlroy's playing in North America for the first time in a long time. Scheffler's there. All the big boys are there. Nick Dunlap is making his debut as a professional this week. And it sounds like the weather's going to be nasty. What are you expecting? Who do you have your eye on this week, Mark?
Guys, survival of the fittest. I mean, like, you tell me. I was on the golf course most of the day today, waiting for the end of the world to arrive. It finally started to arrive around 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. I saw maybe a half a dozen guys out there. You probably saw the social media video of Tony Finau playing around with the driver from 107 yards on the par 3. Well, while that was going on, I was actually 2 holes ahead walking with Max Homa and Colin Morikawa, and at the par 4 ninth, Morikawa hit driver, and couldn't get to the green. I mean, that's how severe the wind was. We're going to dump a large bucket of moisture on this. It's going to be a crapshoot because we're going to be dealing with guys on 2 different golf courses for the first 2 days with amateurs, and then the amateurs will go away after Friday. Stopping and starting. So you got to get very lucky with what window you get to play what golf course on. This could be crazy. Rory's played great this year. You mentioned first time on U.S. soil, but so far he's got the victory, had a chance to win the other one. There's so many good players playing all well at the same time. But when the weather gets this unpredictable, especially a field of this, where you're talking about, the best of the best, when it gets this unpredictable with weather, it could be a putt here, a putt there. I do not expect good scoring. I can tell you that. If the forecast is remotely accurate, this is going to be hold on for dear life by the time the gun goes off tomorrow morning. And I'm being told already we might even be delayed right out of the gates tomorrow because of weather. We might not even start on time. So
it all leads to one man, Zeke, and that man is Tommy Fleetwood. I'm telling you, you get a guy that can saw off, punch a driver out there into the fan. I love Tommy Fleetwood this weekend. You talked about the amateurs. How disappointed do you think Bill Murray was when he got the email that said he was gassed from this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, he was a fixture here, right, guys? A fixture here forever. But I don't know. It's all joking aside. This year, very different vibe. And if I'm being completely transparent, I prefer the vibe. Yeah, I like the top 80. I like the Signature Series. I like that this means something. 700 FedEx Cup points instead of 500. I mean, you can make a break the first half of your year with a good performance here this week. I like the serious tone of it. I mean, I think the game's gotten too serious, and there's too much money involved, and we don't get the best players in the world together often enough, to your point off the top of the conversation with what's going on with LIV, etc. Well, this is one of those opportunities where, at least from a PGA Tour standpoint, we've got the best in the world that still play on the PGA Tour all here this week. I really have no interest in seeing some actor or some chop musician go out and shoot 12 or Bill Murray make a fool of himself in a greenside bunker. I really think that was really cute back in the old days, whatever, Bing Crosby clam bake. But I mean, I got no. If I want to watch bad golf, boys, we could just all go out together, walk around our country club, have a few pops, and watch each other get very disappointed with each other's golf games.
That's very valid.
This week is not the place for that, right?
No, exactly. We play with amateurs all the time. We don't need to see it on TV. We do not need to see it at Pebble Beach. It'll be great. It's going to be awesome. Golf Talk Canada's back, better than ever. We look forward to that, too. And enjoy it out there, Mark. We'll do it again soon. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, boys. Monday, season 16, 10 a.m. We kick her off.
Beautiful. Cannot wait. There he is, Mark Zecchino, the host of Golf Talk Canada. You can hear on TSN, watch on TSN. Yeah.
So everybody hates Bill Murray.
I know. All of a sudden, it's like, what's going on here?
I want to show you why, okay? Okay. Joe from the Bridge, just play our little look at this guy, okay? He's just shaking people's hand, pulling them out of the crowd. Like look,
this woman is not interested in Bill,
No,
and now he
she's not.
buries her. Yeah, it's like, we get it, Bill. Like, is he playing the guy from Caddyshack?
Look at the outfits and the gear. There's the wave, throwing the club, the wave. Like, this is the hat. Oh, he's
Signing a
I
hat.
can't. I love his movies, but I am so glad that I don't have to turn it on Sunday and watch this guy roam around Pebble Beach. Like, it's insane what he's been doing for 30 years out there.
Oh, he's picking people.
Like, he's
up.
picking up that's Dottie Pepper.
Dottie Pepper's like, can you stop? I'm a professional. She's like, all right, Bill, that's funny. All right, man.
Yeah.
There's Bill. Oh, he's got, Oh, there he is. Wild and wacky Bill Murray. Yeah, all right, you sold me, man. I love Bill Murray. Bill Murray's one of the all-time greats, but his act at Pebble Beach, it's over. It's
man.
over. It's
you know
done.
what it is? Do you remember? You probably wouldn't remember this movie he was in called What About Bob? Do you remember
Yes,
that?
Oh,
of course
yes,
I remember
one of my
that.
favorites.
Great movie.
The potatoes, fade.
He was so unbelievable. He's so annoying in that movie. This is what he is right here. It's unfortunate because I don't know. It is the act gets old. That's what it. And people are like, okay, it's
He
enough,
can't get
Bob.
out of the character,
You know,
man. Maybe he just shows up and buttons up and plays. But he can't anymore because he's
he can't
Bill
help
Murray.
himself. Yeah.
No. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm with you, man. Best bets for this week at Pebble. My boy Tommy Fleetwood, my mate. I was out there with him at Oakdale. He and I were sharing many pleasantries. Very complimentary about my game, too. I think Tommy's going to win on the PGA Tour this year, and I think it very well could happen this week. He's paying 33-1 on FanDuel. Jump on it. Matt Fitzpatrick, he's out there. Baggy gray pants and Skechers, 35-1.
Even Rory, dude. Don't count out Rory.
I don't think Rory's got good. He doesn't play Pebble. He doesn't play Pebble much. He hasn't been there, I think, since the U.S. Open in 18 or 19.
Regardless of whatever you think of Rory McIlroy, he's a god.
Yes.
He can just show up one week.
Of course he can.
Regardless of the conditions, and rip it apart.
I'm with you. That's why I'm going to throw Justin Thomas in here. His odds, 20-1 on FanDuel. That guy's coming back. Like he is going to win tournaments again.
Rory's had 2 starts this year. He lost to Tommy Fleetwood in one, and he won the other one.
Yeah. No, that was over in Dubai.
Who cares?
It's not the PGA Tour. It's not an elevated event like this week. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and find thousands of ways to play. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. You want to come back with a 3-pack, maybe a 4, maybe a Canadian. We'll see. All right, we'll get to our Pebble picks. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, rapid fire here. AT&T, Pebble Beach, Pro-Am.
Go ahead. You get first pick.
All right, go ahead.
Scheffler.
You're a rat. You said Fleetwood, and you went Scheffler. Rory.
Tommy Fleetwood.
Rick Hovland.
Gutless. Jordan Spieth.
Max Homa.
Justin Thomas.
Matt Fitzpatrick.
No, you took Fitzy. How many do we have? What is that? 3
Doesn't
or
matter.
4?
Just a couple more
We're
guys
gonna
you
keep
like.
going?
I got a couple for you. I got Sahith Theegala, Nick Dunlap,
Ooh.
and Mackenzie Hughes.
Okay, I'm going to take my man Ludwig. Going down with the ship. He hasn't been great to start the year. Ludwig Aberg. Ooh.
Got 2 more.
Keegan
Bradley. And
your boy Adam Hadwin's sitting right there.
Yeah, I'll take Hadwin.
Canadian, yeah.
No, you can take Sahith. You got to give me Keegan.
No, I got Keegan. Keegan's my guy. Scott Vail, I love that guy. Great, best caddy on tour.
Dude, give me Keegan. You take.
I'll
Sahith.
take Rory. You can have
Fine,
Keegan.
Done. Because I'm not letting Scotty. Vail. He'll be mad
I'll
at me.
I'll take Sahith. That's fine.
All
I
right.
like Sahith. You can have. You can have
Give me
Keegan.
Rory.
Yeah, well, I might as well. The guy. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Noodles, I'm sure you wrote that down. Doogie, you're
No,
on a
I
mission
was
back
trying
there.
to
No one
Doogie.
knows. No one.
Well, you guys started. You weren't going back and forth, and then just made a 3-pack out of nowhere. It's like, all right,
Doesn't
I'll
matter.
just take these 3.
We got to get back on track. We got to start picking winners for the PGA Tour events.
I know. I'm telling you,
Did
man.
any of you guys ever pick a winner last year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
we
a
picked
flat out winner?
I was
Absolutely.
on a heater. I think I had
Absolutely.
2 or 3 weeks in a row where I picked a winner.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's the case.
No question,
I don't
Noodles.
remember.
No question.
No question.
I did.
There was, I think, like
Noodles, remember, we were picking 10 to 12 guys each.
I know, and you were still missing. That was the part that was. I think there was a stretch where you guys were just like talking about, well, I didn't see that guy coming. I didn't expect him to be good. Like, I don't remember you guys picking winners, but maybe we'll keep track a lot closer this year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're on a mission.
It might be a sub-run Hazenbro and all of that. Like it might have to be a different teams for golf.
All right. That's fine. We can make that work. That's not going to be an issue for us at all.
Be fun.
All right. Tomorrow we're down at Boston Pizza. We can't wait. We'll be down there on front. Brought to you by FanDuel. We cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun down there. We're looking forward to it. Doogie's going to be down there, right? Doogie will be a man of the people, I'm sure.
Doogie's going to introduce himself to the world.
Yes, he is.
Forget about the girl that dumped him and didn't want to go to the basketball game.
She'll
Doogie's
be back.
Out there.
She'll be there tomorrow.
No,
She'll be there
won't.
tomorrow. Yes, she will. Like
Doogie's
Stacey.
doesn't have the game. He doesn't have the game for her to show back.
Hayes and fraud. Yeah, that's happening. All right, thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today, radio, TV, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.